Hello there. I recently did some thrifting for the first time in a while, and I managed to find something really interesting that I've been kind of looking out for a while, but never really thought I would find. This is a Remington Rand adding machine in a portable carrying case. Now, I have a lot of mechanical adding machines because I find them to be fascinating, but I don't have any that are in a case. I don't have any that are this manufacturer, and I don't have any that have a pull crank and a visible display. So this is a pretty cool device that fills a lot of niches for me. All right, now before we go any farther here, I think there are a couple of interesting things to note about this thing in its case. Now, the case is kind of what you would expect. It's not too complicated. We have the leatherette box. We have the handle that has a metal core that is very leather wrapped. The latches would have keys, which I don't have, unfortunately, but thankfully, without the key, while it's unlocked, you can just push that to the side and then it pops up. Inside the case, the adding machine itself isn't actually directly attached in any way. It's not like a Smith Corona typewriter where there's the little latch thing back there. But with that out, we can also see here that everything in this is made out of plywood. The case itself, we can see a little bit of the wood there in the corner that's damaged. And then these raised sections here are the only things that hold the adding machine in place. And we can see if I peel that back, that's already a little loose, that this is wood as well. It's just, I was not expecting this to just all be wood like that, although it kind of makes sense. I've never looked at the bottom. I guess that is very, very wood. Now the hinges seem like the kind that allow you to slide them out. Ah, they do if you go all the way back. Okay. I don't know why you would do that though, since it doesn't attach to this part, but I guess that's something you can do. Now though, let's focus on the machine itself. From what I can tell, this model is from around 1935, so this is a 90-year-old adding machine. I actually managed to find a pretty nice scan of an advertisement for this thing too, so we can look at that and see some of the features that they call out as notable on this model. The first thing that they call out, and what immediately made this thing interesting to me, is the visible register. So if I enter 1, 2, 3, and then pull the handle, we'll see that the dials will all advance to display that. They're also proud of the fact that the case here is made out of aluminum, and it sure sounds like it. The only magnet I have nearby is this Microsoft Surface keyboard cover, and yeah, that is an aluminum case. One of the reasons they were so keen to highlight that is they were trying to market it as portable when it weighs 11 pounds, so that probably helped a lot to get the weight down. Now, I don't quite understand the comment about the full-size key buttons, because I've never seen a unit with smaller keys than this, unless they're talking about something like an Addiator, which this just isn't in the same class of. However, the multiplication key is pretty cool. If we press this key down and then enter something like, say, 12, when we go to add our values to the register, we print the same value over and over again here until we total it, which we can do by clearing. And then for some reason, I have to do a non-add, then the total. I'm not sure if that's intended, but that gets our result of 36. And then we can release the multiply key and return this back to just an adding machine. Down on the front is something I suspect was born of patents or some other nonsense, because it's kind of weird. As you type in your digits, you see this slider move over to the left. You're able to pull this back to reset any digits that you input. Now, the reason I'm saying this is possibly patent nonsense is that the next line item is a backspace key, which this does not have, but they say that you can use that slider to accomplish the same thing. So I'm guessing a competitor had a backspace key at this time, but also had a patent on it. So they just came up with a workaround and said, yeah, we have that too. The last couple of line items have to do with the features in the back. Here we have the ribbon, which it calls out as being automatically reversing, which is cool. Means that when it goes through all of the ribbon on one side, it'll then come back the other direction automatically, so you don't have to take the spools off and flip them. Although you would probably still want to do that, assuming that it does print along one edge instead of the center, but that's still a nice feature to have. And then they're calling out that it uses standard paper rolls so that you don't have to use anything weird. It's actually kind of a wide platen on here. You can move the paper anywhere you want, or you could put a wider piece of paper in there. The paper holder just slides out to the side and you can adjust your width of the guides. It's pretty nice overall, actually. And this is your paper bale release so that you can adjust the paper as needed, which is very much needed because it doesn't really well align the paper laterally. So you're going to have to get that dialed in yourself, which I'm now going to have to fix. Now, this device does not have subtraction. The only other features that it has are the subtotal and non-add keys, which I briefly touched on non-add. So if I just make sure that we are fully cleared here, the non-add just allows you to print a number. So like, let's say you wanted to print, I don't know, a phone number in 1935. What would a phone number be? Like 12? We could do non-add and just have that print to the display. Subtotal and total differ only in that subtotal does not clear the total register when you print with it. So if we add, say, 35 here multiple times, 1, 2, 3, we can then do subtotal. Although, I don't get why these, like, jam up here. Maybe we have to clear the register? Then, no? Yeah, this part I don't understand. So maybe we have to do a non-add to indicate that whatever comes next is not part of the addition chain. Because, no, I still can't? That's weird. There we go. Well, there's our subtotal, which it also prints an S on the paper for, but then if we do total, we get the full number. This unit does not seem to be in incredible condition. Internally, I'm guessing it was dropped or something. Something seems like it's poorly misaligned. It just did some really weird stuff to me. I'm also guessing it has a lot of use based on the fact that one of the previous owners tried to keep it stable by filling in the expanding failed rubber feet with silicone so that it would stay in place. So, yeah. As much as I would like to, this is not the video for me to be taking this apart in. This is just meant to be a quick look and assessment of the device. Overall, it is working, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm going to guess there's just something heavy that maybe shifted inside and it doesn't align correctly, but it really does work fine most of the time. I will say, after having used it a bit, the visible register here is really kind of bad. It's very difficult to see. You would have to be hunched over this thing, looking directly down at it, which is kind of counter to the whole idea of these things. To give you a frame of reference, a comptometer is basically meant to be used blind without looking at the unit at all, just rapidly punching in figures. So this being so hard to see means that it was probably rarely used. Still, though, this is a very cool machine with some weird features that I'm really glad to have. It's a little bit of a shame that I can't quite make out what is on this Remington Rand service information, and I think someone got to it with a green crayon at some point. Maybe I'll try and clean that off, but there is a balance to making sure that you don't damage the finish on these kinds of things, although this doesn't have the crinkle paint, so it's not as sensitive. But that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this look at a Remington Rand adding machine. I'm slowly filling in my collection of different adding machine manufacturers. Pike is one I'd really like to get next, but that's probably never going to happen. But still, this is a very cool machine. Well, if you enjoyed this video, you may want to subscribe to be notified when I release another one. If you want to help support the channel, I am on Patreon. But for now, that's it, and I will see you next time.